She gave away his PlayStation to a man she had known for 5 minutes and then asked him to watch the house while she was on her honeymoon. Oh, honey. Oh, honey. That is what we call a fateful mistake, because that house was not her house, it was his, and he was about to remind her of that in the most legally satisfying way imaginable. Okay, let me back up and give you the full picture here, because the context makes this so much better. Our guy, let's call him Eric, grew up with what sounds like the sweetest parents you can imagine. His mom and dad met in college, been together their whole lives, same age, same everything. But his mom got sick, ovarian cancer, 55 years old, and just like that, she was gone. His dad was absolutely wrecked, like never really recovered wrecked. And while he was grieving, a woman named Grace was right there. She had been his mom's nurse in those final days, and after the funeral, she just kept checking in. Every month like clockwork. Now, Eric was 17 at the time, and he says he could feel in his gut that something was off. But it wasn't his call to make. His dad was a grown man, and Grace was making him smile again. So Eric went off to college on a full scholarship, bit his tongue, and tried to give her the benefit of the doubt. But y'all, his gut was right. His dad and Grace got married after 6 months of dating. 6 months. And Eric's dad, bless his heart, never really got over losing his wife. He kept getting weaker, and at only 57 years old, he called Eric to him and asked, "Boy, what do you need to do to set you up in this life?" Eric told him he didn't need anything. He had his scholarship, he was going to be fine. He reminded his dad he had his sisters, cousins, people to think about. His dad died 2 years later at 59. And here's where it gets interesting. His dad left Grace several $100,000, gave some endowments to his sisters and cousins, and gave Eric, who didn't ask for a single thing, his 5-bedroom house in an extremely upscale, very desirable neighborhood. Grace was furious. You could feel it underneath the surface, even as she tried to play nice. She had expected that house. She had counted on that house. But the legal papers said otherwise. That house belonged to Eric. Now, here's the thing about Eric. He was away finishing college. He only came home every couple of months, and during that time, Grace just settled in. Started acting like the house was hers, started dating again, only 5 months after Eric's dad was in the ground, by the way, and brought home this guy named Ivan, who was barely older than Eric himself. And then Eric graduated, got a job with a local firm, came home to visit, and that is when Grace pulled the move that sealed her fate. She told him she had given away his PlayStation 4, gave it to Ivan's cousin, because, and I quote, Eric was too old to play with video games. You gave away another grown man's property to a stranger in a house that is not yours, and you said it like it was nothing. Eric smiled, changed all his network passwords that same day, and filed that information away in a very special place in his brain. Grace then cheerfully informed him that she and Ivan were getting married. "I just can't mourn your father forever. I have to move on," and that they'd be going to her homeland for the wedding and a long honeymoon. Oh, and could Eric watch the house while they were gone? "Watch my house?" Eric said. "Sure, I will absolutely take care of the house." Note that he was very careful not to say your house. The second Grace and Ivan's taxi pulled away, Eric got to work. He posted rental listings for his gorgeous, furnished, upscale home. He hired movers. Every single piece of furniture and every belonging that Grace had accumulated over the years got professionally boxed up and moved into a storage unit. One, he generously prepaid for 4 months, which was 1 whole month longer than her honeymoon. Locks changed. Within days, he had more rental inquiries than he could count. He chose a wonderful young family, a lawyer and a school teacher with 2 kids, gave them his own lawyer's contact info just in case Grace tried to cause a scene, and collected first and last month's rent. Then he found himself a nice apartment in the city near his new job. When Grace came back from her honeymoon, there was a family living in her house. Her things were in storage, the locks didn't work, and Eric was nowhere to be found. She tried to cause trouble. She shrieked. She threatened. And Eric's lawyer, the same one his father had trusted for years, shut the whole thing down without Eric ever having to look at her again. Last Eric heard, Grace and Ivan had left the country, probably working through those hundreds of thousands of dollars his dad left her before reality catches up with them. And Eric is renting out his father's beautiful home to that lovely young family, generating enough income that he's helping pay for his cousin's college. He moved into a bigger apartment with his fiancée, who he met at a restaurant near his job. He loves his work. He is, by every measure, absolutely thriving. Oh, and he bought a new PlayStation 4. He barely even used the old one. That wasn't the point. The point was, you do not give away other people's things. Just like you don't live in other people's houses. Y'all, I need a moment because this one is clean. Like from start to finish. Eric did everything right. He was patient. He was strategic. He never tipped his hand. He waited until she handed him the perfect opportunity. Watch the house for me, honey. And then he used it. And the PlayStation detail just gets me every time because that is such a small, petty, unnecessary thing for Grace to do. You didn't need to do that, Grace. You could have just been a decent human being and none of this would have happened. But she wasn't. So here we are. Drop a comment below. Was this the most satisfying revenge story you've heard all week? Or do you have something that can top it? Because I genuinely do not think you can. But I would love to be proven wrong. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next one.